Hey guys, YouTubeBoy100 here. Alright, and now, as my horror movie reviews continue, now I'm gonna review for you guys Child's Play. So I watched the movie about a couple hours ago. I would have made the review right after, but I've been a little bit sidetracked with a few things, yeah. And plus also, Game 1 of the World Series is on right now between the Cardinals and the Red Sox. And the Cardinals are playing like crap tonight. Seriously, right now the Red Sox have the lead 5-0. And yeah, at the rate this game is going, we're like in the 7th inning now. Cardinals have definitely lost this game. So, yeah. Okay, anyway, so, yeah, Child's Play. Alright, so, yeah. I thought this was, I thought this was a good movie. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's probably the best one in the series out of all the Chucky movies. Yeah, yeah, I didn't actually think this was really scary yet. This movie doesn't really get really scary until like the last 15-20 minutes of it or something like that. But yeah, I still thought it was a good movie. I'd give this probably 3.25 stars out of 5. 4, sorry, not 5. Yeah, 3.25 stars out of 4. Yeah, yeah, yeah. People you out there probably know what Child's Play is about. It's about the killer doll Chucky going around trying to kill people for revenge or stuff, yeah. So, yeah, let me just get right into this review. Alright, so the movie starts with the detective who's played by the same guy who plays Prince Humperdinck in Princess Bride, Jason Killer Charles Lee Ray. And then he gets shot in the leg, and then his partner, Eddie Caputo, takes off on him. So then Charles Lee Ray runs off into a toy store, and the detective chases him in and then shoots him in the chest. Yes, and then he realizes that he's dying. And then he's shouting to the detective that he's gonna kill him and Eddie no matter what. Yeah, and then he was starting to really he died. Yeah, I mean he just wasn't able to walk anymore, and then he knocked over this there were a stack of good guy dolls. Well, and then he takes one out and he says a voodoo chant in order to transfer his soul into the doll. And as he was reciting the chant, you saw there were a bunch of clouds that were coming over the toy store, and there was lightning. And as he was reciting the chant, the detective was still looking around the store trying to find him. As you finished the chant, then the store was struck by lightning, and there was a big explosion, and it threw the detective back. And then he finally found Charles Lee Ray's lifeless body, and saw the doll also. And then it faded away to the main boy, Andy. And it was his birthday. He was watching a good guy cartoon, whatever. And he was fixing breakfast for his mom. I mean, yeah. And to be quite honest, he did kind of a crappy job at it. No offense. Yeah, I know he was only 6, so yeah. But yeah, he like completely black toast, and he overfilled a bowl with cereal. Yeah. And as you took breakfast over to his mom, who was played by Catherine Hicks, yeah, she was embracing him for his birthday. And then as he went to open presents, his birthday presents, yeah, he saw a present that was shaped as a good guy doll boxes, so he thought it might have been a good guy doll, but it was just a box, yeah, with jeans in them. And then he also had a good guy tool chest or whatever. Yeah, not an actual good guy doll. Yeah. And then we get to the mother at work, and then her friend, Maggie, tells her that there was a bum outside with a good guy doll. Then she went outside to see it, and then she bought it from the bum, paid like $30 for it. And then her boss at work told her that she would need to work overtime or whatever that night at work. And then she then came home with Andy and gave him the good guy doll. Oh, and Andy was showing the mom how it worked by asking what was his name, and the doll said in the good guy doll voice, he said, "Hi, I'm Chucky and I'm your friend to the end. Heidi ho." And then later we saw Maggie babysitting Andy for the rest of the night, and Andy was playing with his good guy tools and Chucky was sitting there with him, and we saw Chucky's head turn to the TV. Yeah, and then it was time for Andy to go to bed, so yeah, Maggie took Andy and Chucky to the room, told Andy to brush his teeth, and as Andy went to brush his teeth, Maggie then saw Chucky just sitting on the couch watching TV, and she thought Andy did it. She thought he put Chucky there, and then she got after him for it, say that bedtime means bedtime or whatever. And then she tucked Andy into bed. Then later the night, right, then Chucky, then we saw him do stuff, yeah. We didn't actually see him do it, but yeah, we just saw like what he was seeing. Yeah, first Andy's bedroom door, we saw the knob turn and open, we didn't see anything. And we saw Chucky's view, we saw him walking around, but he was moving pretty fast to be walking, yeah. Then Maggie was hearing a bunch of, she heard noises, and then she went around the house to check. And then she saw, like, powder spill or whatever. As she was cleaning it up, she, like, looked behind plants or something, there was nothing there. Then as she turned around, you know, she got hit in the face with the toy hammer, and then she just walked back and fell out the window, onto a truck. And later that night when the mom came home, she saw the police were there investigating the quote-unquote crime. Yeah. And then the detective told the mother what happened. And then they saw some small footprints in that powder of whoever did it. Yeah. And they were pretty small footprints, so detective I thought that it might have been Andy, but he checked, told the mom that none of his shoes matched the tracks. Then he looked on Andy's good guy pajama sneakers, and it had all the things that had on the tracks, like a hammer and a gun and a cowboy hat or something. Yeah, so he started to think maybe Andy did do it. But the mom just told the detective that Andy didn't do it. And then, as Andy was in bed, he saw that Chucky had those things on the bottom of his shoes too, and they were actually like what should I say? They were actually like molded on. And then Andy told the detective that it was Chucky who did it. Yeah, then the mom just sent Andy back to bed, and the detective left. And then as the mom went to say goodnight to Andy or whatever, Andy was telling the mom that Chucky was talking to him, saying his name was Charles Lee Ray, and that Maggie was a bitch and got what she deserved. And the mom was just asking Andy how he could say that stuff, and he knew a hose that he's making it up. And yeah, she was just telling him that Chucky is just a doll, and asked him if he really believed that all this was really happening. And let's see. Well, make that 6-0 now. The Red Sox have scored a home run now on the Cardinals, so now it's 6-0. Oh, 7-0 actually now. Oh my gosh. Yeah, as I said, Cardinals are done in this game. Alright. Okay, getting back to this now. Yeah, alright, so yeah, what was I talking about? Oh yeah. Mom was asking Andy if he really believes all this stuff is happening, and he just said no. Then the next morning, Mom dropped Andy off at his school, and when she left, Andy left, and he took the train down over to the part of town where Eddie Caputo was living. Yeah, and as Andy put Chucky on a rocking chair outside something, yeah, as he went to go tinkle, Chucky then took off for Eddie's house. We once again saw just Chucky's view, and he was moving fast. Went to Eddie's house. Yeah, Eddie could hear something, so he searched around his house, which was a complete mess. Yeah, to see if there was something, and he had a gun on him also. And we saw Chucky open the oven and like turn it up full heat or whatever. And then Chucky was gone when Andy came back, and Andy went looking for him. And then Andy could hear Chucky's. Eddie could hear Andy calling for Chucky, and he looked out the window, and he saw Andy. So yeah. And then he went to look around more, and he heard something in his kitchen or whatever. And then he opened the door and gave a shot, and then the house just exploded. And then we cut to the police station, where the mom is there talking with the detective. And then there was another cop asking Andy questions about who was responsible for the death of Eddie or whatever. Yeah. And then the mom and the detective came in that room. The mom was telling Andy that no one believes him about Chucky. Yeah. And if Andy doesn't tell the truth or whatever, they're gonna take Andy away from his mom. Then Andy was just shaking Chucky to start talking and say something, but yeah, Chucky remained quiet. Then the mom and the detective were just like putting their heads down. And then Andy told his mom that Chucky's doing it on purpose, and said that if Andy said anything to her about Chucky, that Chucky would kill him. And then the doctor from, I guess, some kind of ward was saying to the mom that he's seen enough and that maybe Andy should stay at the ward for a couple of days. And then the mom went home with Chucky. She just sat him on the table, told him to talk. Yeah, Chucky was just talking in his good guy voice. Then she went over to the box, and then the good guy batteries fell out. Yeah. And then she opened the part of Chucky where the batteries go, and there was nothing in there. Then Chucky's head turned around. He was still talking in his good guy voice. He said, "Hi, I'm Chucky, wanna play?" And the mom just screamed and dropped Chucky. He fell onto the couch. And then the mom knew that he was alive. So yeah, she told him to talk, and then threatened to throw him in the fire if he didn't talk. And then Chucky did come to life, talking in his natural voice. He called the mom, a bitch and a slut, and that he'd teach her to fuck with him. And then him and the mom got into a fight. Yeah, Chucky bit her arm. Oh, yeah, and that looked like it hurt bad. And then the mom just threw Chucky off, and then Chucky came out of the apartment and took the elevator down. And the mom took the stairs all the way down. And the mom went over to the detective, told him that Andy was right and Chucky is alive. Said that Chucky was responsible for the death of Maggie and Eddie Caputo. And the detective just didn't believe her. And then the mom showed the detective the bite, which, still looked horrible. Yeah, and then the detective was also telling the mom that lying won't help Andy. And then the detective just took off. And then the mom went to track down the bum who sold her Chucky. She asked him where he got the doll, but he wanted something in return if he was going to tell her. And he was about to rape her, and then the detective came and stopped him before he could, kneed him in the gut or the groin or something, and he scared off everybody else. And he just made the bum say where he got it from, and the bum said he got it from from a destroyed toy store or something. And then the detective was telling the mom what was going on with Charles Lee Ray. That's where he died, and the mom was gonna go there, and the detective told her that there was nothing there, that it was struck by lightning, that Charles Lee Ray died. And then the detective decided to take the mom home, and she was asking him questions about Charles Lee Ray, about where he lived, and the detective told her where he lived, and said that there was nothing there anymore. And then the mom was telling the detective that Andy's life depends on it, and yeah, since Eddie Caputo was killed, that he could be next. And so then the detective went back to the station, got Charles Lee Ray's file, and as he was driving off, Chucky then was in the back, tried to choke the detective out with a cable or something. And when the detective then burned Chucky with the cigarette lighter in the car. Then Chucky was trying to stab the detective through the seat with a knife. The detective just kept dodging all the stabs, and then the car then eventually flipped over. And then Chucky was circling the car with the knife, trying to stab the detective. And the detective eventually shot Chucky in the, I think it might have been either in the chest or the leg, I forgot which one. Yeah. Then the next morning, and the mom and the detective were at Charles Lee Ray's old home, and the detective was talking to the mom about the man that taught Chucky voodoo, and that he was saying that they needed to find him before Chucky did. Then we cut to the voodoo doctor, and then Chucky comes and he's asking the voodoo doctor why he can feel pain now, and the doctor told him that it was because the more times he spends in the body, the more human he becomes. And Chucky wanted to know how he can get out of the body, but the voodoo doctor refused to tell him. And then Chucky had to grab a voodoo doll, that whatever happens to it happens to the voodoo doctor. Then Chucky bent the leg, and yeah, you just heard the bones cracking in the voodoo doctor's body. But the voodoo doctor still refused to tell Chucky how he could get out of the doll. So then Chucky bent the arm on the doll, and then you hear the arm bone snapping. And then Chucky finally threatened to kill the doctor, and then the doctor finally told Chucky how to transfer out of the doll. He said it was to transfer his soul into the first person that he revealed himself to. And then after that, Chucky then said that he had a date with a 6-year-old boy, but before he left, he killed the doctor by stabbing the doll. Yeah, and then just seconds after that, and Chucky left, the mom and the detective got there. But obviously it was too late. The voodoo doctor was dying, but before he died, he told the mother that they need to stop Chucky before he can complete the chant, and to just kill him, they gotta shoot him in the, gotta destroy his heart or whatever. Yeah. Then we cut to Andy, at the ward where he's staying, and he could see through his window that Chucky was there, and he was climbing up the stairs. He was trying to get the doctor to let him out, but the doctor refused, and then he started to break down. But then he then tricked Chucky. When Chucky got to Andy's room or whatever, he opened the door, and Andy then tricked Chucky by thinking he was in the bed. When Chucky went over to the bed, opened the blankets, there was just pillows. And yeah, Andy grabbed the keys and locked Chucky in. And then the ward doctor saw Andy sneaking off, and Andy was just trying to hide away. And then he was like in some kind of operating room or something. I don't know, but yeah. And Chucky then was there, and then the doctor then came, tried to calm Andy down. He was about to give Andy a shot, but then Chucky then like used one of the doctor tools to stab the back of his leg. And then he put some sort of shocking thing on over the doctor's head, and then just shocked him, and he was bleeding from the mouth, and his face was burning black. Yeah. And then the detective and the mom got to the ward, and yeah, the detective was talking to another cop, saying if he's seen Chucky or whatever, and he said no. And then the mom said that Andy went home because that's where she told him to go if he's ever in trouble. Then Andy went home, tried to hide from Chucky some more, grabbed a baseball bat. Yeah, when Chucky found him, he tried to hit him, but Chucky ducked, and Andy dropped the bat, and he tried to run from Chucky. And then Chucky nailed Andy in the back of the head with the bat, and Andy passed out. And Chucky attempted to do the voodoo chant, but the mom stopped him before he could. Yeah. And then, yeah, Chucky then cut the detectives in the leg with his knife. And then the mom was fighting Chucky. She put him in the fireplace and tried to hold him in there. Then Andy was about to set a fire in the fireplace. Chucky tried to tell Andy, remind him that they were friends to the end. Before Andy dropped the match, he said, "This is the end, friend." And then he started a fire, and Chucky then was burned. And then he jumped out of the fireplace, still burning, running around all over the place. But then, yeah, then eventually Chucky then, quote-unquote, died. And then, as Amy was getting a first aid kit for the detective, Chucky then tripped Andy, and we saw his burned body. Yeah, and then he was just walking towards Andy, but Andy was backing up. And then the mother had a gun. She shot Chucky a few times, shot his head off, one of his arms, and one of his legs off, and he still wasn't down. Yeah. Yeah, and then, I think Chucky then was finally put down or something. Yep. And then that cop that was at the ward camp, whatever, detective was telling him that Chucky was alive, and he saw the burned doll. Yeah, and he grabbed his head, and he wasn't convinced of anything. And then Chucky then popped out from a vent and started to choke the cop or whatever. Yeah. Then he was eventually thrown off. And then the mother told the detective to shoot Chucky in the heart, and that's what the detective did, and then Chucky was killed. Yeah. And then, yeah, they took the detective to the hospital, and the film ended with, them walking out of the room, and he kept looking back at the burned doll, and just as right when the door was about to close, it just froze, and it ended. Alright, so yeah. 3.25 stars out of 4. Alright, so yeah. That's it for my Child's Play review. Thanks for watching. See you guys later.